существует как икона какая-то, но...
Да. Потом пиджачок. Ой, короче, да. Не, я вчера, да, доделала, он вроде бы утром прислал мне сообщение, что типа он конферм. Я отправила, значит, посты Инне, ну, в смысле Эшли. То есть вроде все хорошо, но там нужно...
Препод прислал, что конферм?
Да, что он типа все получил. Но еще раз сегодня перепроверить, потому что я люблю перепроверять. Потому что, знаешь, как часто бывает... Как лучше, с распущенными или хвостик?
Мне нравится, когда с распущенными сидишь.
Окей, я оставлю их вот так. Я вообще их не сушила. Так, круто, смогу. Окей, тогда конферм. Кэти Мэри вообще тоже очень крутая.
Я знаю, я же не давно подписана.
Да.
У нас сейчас будет product placement в кадре.
Чей? Так, а ты откроешь, да, телефон?
Да. Ты просто сейчас, мне нужно, чтобы мы настроили его и поставили.
Да,
Я
сейчас. Ну, она, конечно, вообще, да. Огонь. Так, подождите, что мне кажется. Ага. Так, got it. Yes. Свет отвечу.
Прям так, Кити, да, пишется?
Угу. Thank you. I scheduled interview website Friday, June 24th. Invitation.
Подожди, Даша, я проверю 24-й, это раз в пятницу, на четверг, следующий.
Так, ну мы на 24-е же,
Wednesday
да?
это.
А, фу. А я Роме что написала?
Сейчас проверим.
Все, сейчас Даше нужно собраться.
Ты написал 24-го, все правильно.
А, все. Почему я решила, что пятница? Так, значит...
Это Wednesday.
Все, я написала. Wednesday, June 24, I'll send you later. Okay. Love to set up the interview. Thank you. Так, все.
Десерт нормально будет сфоткали.
Да, десерт вообще шикарно сфоткали.
Молодцы.
Так, ладно, я потом доделаю это приглашение. Роман Иванов. Вот. Иванов. Ведь. Так. Мэри. 11. Так, сейф. Так, все, давай. Так, у нас рекординг. Фактически я его поставила, что он теперь включается. That's great. Can you advise on what questions you'd like to go over? Так, я мне потом не напишу.
У меня что, вообще сразу мысли в письма конвертируются?
Да, видимо.
Знаешь, что я сейчас, включаю авиарежим, потому что невозможно, меня это бесило вчера.
Да, что сообщение приходило. Согласна, я тоже здесь все отключила.
Да.
Чтобы не было... Так, я тогда начинаю, да, с бэкграунда, правильно?
Ну, как обычно, да. Обычно, уже обычно.
Вообще скоро будем такие, типа, сигаретки курить. Так, окей, ну норм. Здесь пить. Так, ладно, значит, она еще в пятницу предварительно нам подтвердили, но там тоже она уточняет у своих владельцев.
Кто?
Ну, менеджер.
В какую пятницу? В эту?
Да.
Во сколько? Утром?
В 11.
Рома будет, да?
Подожди, Рома в четверг.
Нет, я имею в виду, что у нас все, я имею в виду, что...
Все интервью у нас
Поняла,
утром,
да? Что
да.
я думала, что мы можем интервью проводить в любое время, но нет, потому что Ром.
Да. Да.
Ты ей прислала, да, ссылку?
Конечно.
Ну-ка.
Спасибо.
А ты можешь закрыть? Мы все
Она
равно
уходит.
будем ее видеть, да.
Я на всякий случай quit сделаю.
А у нее есть какая-то философия вообще? Или просто она делает жир?
Мне кажется, она просто делает жир.
Лиса, да?
Лиса, да. Ну, если у нее есть философия, можно у нее спросить, но я как-то...
Ну, то есть, чем она просто тебе вот так, ну, из...
Чем она мне нравится?
Да. Почему она будет нравиться нашим аудитории нашей?
Тем, что она делает свадьбы селебрити.
Угу.
И, ну, как бы делает очень большие, да, масштабные проекты. Ну, в первую очередь, наверное, потому что она делает свадьбу селебрити. То есть, как бы, я вот хочу у нее спросить здесь, ну, если она сама не расскажет, когда я буду спрашивать про ее путь, как она начала, я бы хотела еще, ну, как бы, спросить у нее, как она изначально получила первую свадьбу селебрити, например, да, потому что это очень интересно, то есть вообще, как она вышла на этот рынок, и мне кажется, это такая, ну, на самом деле, стрессовая работа, я, конечно, ей это не буду говорить, но, типа, когда делаешь свадьбу для медийных личностей...
Нужно у нее спросить, как она считает, чем отличается медийная личность от обычной свадьбы. Ну, то есть, как бы...
Можно так.
Мы можем отодвинуть его вот сюда? Почему я хочу отодвинуть? Потому что неудобно сидеть на этом стуле. Я как бы сижу все время скрученная. У нее, значит, WhatsApp проблема. В тот раз у Лари была такая же.
Что он такой присоединялся, но не...
Помнишь, он несколько раз присоединялся? Вот.
Hi, can you hear us?
Зависла картинка тоже.
Вот здесь, например.
Да, здесь есть. Hi, Lisa, can you hear us?
Окей. One more.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear us? Oh, one moment. We cannot hear you.
And it seems that you need to connect your, oh yeah.
No.
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 No, but it usually happens to me, so check if you switch off the sound on your laptop. Sometimes I switch off the sound and forget about it.
Oh.
Okay, can you hear me?
Cool. Yeah, cool.
There we go. Technology. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
Good. Let me see. I think this is blocking. Is that so weird? Is it blocking the video a little bit? I have a
No,
Right.
that's fine.
There we
No.
No, it's like perfect. Yeah, and you have even
Okay.
nice light.
So where are you?
We're in Los Angeles.
In West Hollywood.
In West Hollywood at this moment, and
Ah.
one more colleague will be joining us. He's in Moscow. He's
Okay.
to check like win like the competition with Zoom. So we're waiting for him as well. But
Okay.
first, let us introduce ourselves. My name is Daria. This is Alina.
Alina.
Yeah.
Yeah, very Russian names.
Yeah, we all of us were Russians.
Originally from Russia, yeah, but Dasha and I, we live here.
Yeah.
And Roma, he lives in Moscow, yeah, and he is a photographer.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And you were in LA as well?
I'm actually in Orange County. So
Okay.
Okay.
now during the pandemic without traffic, which is one of the benefits, one of the few benefits, it's probably just under an hour, but with traffic it can be 2.5 hours, but
Yes.
it's a bit easier living in Orange County because we're outside of the chaos of, I'm sure you guys have witnessed a lot of chaos recently and
Exactly, yeah. Like there are helicopters always the whole day and the whole evening, and we both study at UCLA, and the UCLA classes are all online, so sometimes you cannot hear your professor, or some professors who live here in West Hollywood they also cannot speak because of the sound of helicopter. So sometimes
what is happening?
It's for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah, that's true. Like my professor just told me that I'm like in the ground zero because like I can literally just look from my balcony and see all of this like fair parades. I can hear all the music and everything, and I'm like, yeah, guys, hi.
You're definitely in ground zero.
Yeah. But it's fun, it's like a unique experience for us at some point.
This is for the whole country, yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
Right. So is the long-term plan for you to stay here, or are you going back to Russia or no?
At this point, we're planning to stay here for 1 more year. We've been here already like for
almost 1 year.
Almost 1 year already.
Okay.
And, we plan to stay longer.
Yeah, but we'll see. Like it's not so easy to stay here, to get like a permission for a job or like but yeah, we'll try. At least we have like the student visa for now, which allows us to apply for some internship to get a social security card and everything. Yeah, so like we try our best, but like with pandemic we kind of slowed down. But it's actually like, if you look like on the bright side, it allowed us to actually came up with this idea like about interviews, like Zoom interviews with all like wedding professionals, which, to be honest, like a couple of months before, I didn't think, like I couldn't even believe it could happen.
You can.
I couldn't even believe
we
that
couldn't
we can
imagine that we can interview with you. Yeah. And with the pandemic, the brain starts working somehow different.
Absolutely.
We just tried to reach you out, and you never know. I mean, at least we try. I said Dasha because yes, Dasha, let's
take
try.
a risk.
At least we try, and now we are speaking with you because, like, even 2 months ago, we even couldn't imagine that. I mean, you will answer and you will agree. So we are really excited.
Yeah, and great thanks for Gina. So like, because like she answered and she told me like, okay, I will try, and I think this is a great idea, so I will just suggest this to Lisa and everything. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. We're so flattered. Do you know Gina's my big sister?
Oh no! Really?
No.
Yeah,
Let's hear this.
yeah, she's our executive director, and she's my big sis. So she takes great care of us.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, and thank you so much again. Like, like, I don't know, it's an honor for us, for you, like, to participate in this.
Oh, thank you. I'm flattered. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, can you tell?
Yeah, maybe I
Lisa-
will
Yeah.
just briefly tell you what are we doing now, yeah, and what's our plan. So we are developing project for YouTube channel, and our mission is to educate and inspire Russian entrepreneurs who are like working in the wedding business, which is comparably young
Okay.
to here to Californian market, and just we have a bunch of interviews with the great professionals in the wedding industry. It's planners, photographers, and yeah, we want to educate and inspire them to do their business in Russia, because I mean maybe you don't know, but the whole Russian market is watching what's going on abroad, and California is a great market to, like, you know, like a role model.
Yeah, we kind of look up at
Yeah.
it, like, to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever is happening here, we're trying to, I don't know,
Catch it,
catch
yeah,
it,
catch the trend, and
yeah.
yeah. And yeah, maybe also you didn't know, but you're a big celebrity on Russian market. Like lots of people who are in the industry know about you. Yeah, you're like, you can't be famous even without being a Hollywood star. So
Wow.
that's why we decided that as soon as we're here and we have some background in wedding market in Russia, yeah, and like we were inspired, so maybe we can be that link, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is the concept.
Yeah, so we're going to translate this interview for our Russian viewers, because unfortunately not everybody like learned English and everything. Yeah, so
Sure.
they could see you, understand like what we are asking, like just about your story, like about your projects and everything. So yeah.
Okay.
So here we are. So we can start basically if you have some.
Okay.
So we can just start the interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, about your journey? How did you become the wedding planner? Because it's such an unusual job. I think like in US, like in Russia, it's like whenever I tell people that I was a wedding planner before, and they were like, what are you doing? Are you like Jennifer Lopez from this movie? Really?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
tell us,
tell
are you
us-
where are you from originally? How you like end up to
How
be
did
not
you
only
start?
in the industry but here in the like the most beautiful place in the world?
I know. Well, I'm a native Californian, so I am a Californian in my heart, in my blood, true and true. I love California. So very spoiled here. My personality is very like if you speak to people on the East Coast, like in New York, and you speak to people on the West Coast, we have very different personalities. On the West Coast, it's a little bit more laid back, and we're kind of a little bit, you know, loosey goosey, flexible. The New Yorkers are more intense, which it's interesting because a lot of our clients are New Yorkers, and I love them because they like make their decisions. They're really good at that. But my personality is very soft, very West Coast, very Californian. With that said, it's very rare that I'm actually in California, especially when we're working. My passion is really abroad and meeting people like you guys. We haven't yet worked in Russia, but I would be so thrilled to do that. But we grew up, so we have a really diverse cultural background. Although you can't tell by the looks of me, we have Italian and German and Mexican in our family. So I grew up with just celebrating. I have so many cousins that we're so close to. So we grew up, it's been over, I think now probably since the 1950s that my, you know, dad's parents and grandparents and my mom's parents and grandparents all got together for Christmas celebrations. So it would be, you know, Italian sausage and spaghetti, yet mariachis at the same time. And it was a beautiful blend of culture. And we grew up with everybody we heard German, we heard Italian, we heard Spanish. My sister speaks 5 languages, and, you know, again, she's my older sister, and she's always spoken for me. So unfortunately, I can understand so much, but Gina's always the one that does all the speaking. So I'm like, yeah, what she said.
Yeah.
You know, the language says that I should, but anyway, so I think that was really in my blood to celebrate. We just grew up celebrating together, and so it's something I've always been very passionate about, something I really connect to, and it's something that's very natural for me. So that, I think, is kind of, you'll see that in our company quite a bit. The cultural, we want to infuse the cultures wherever we are in the world. That's very important. My background is a whole nother story. My background's actually nothing related to weddings. So I went to UC Berkeley and studied rhetoric. So more of, kind of logic, writing, and, worked for IBM, worked for Intel, worked for kind of big corporations. Yeah. And so it's a really long story, which I'll try and make it very short, but basically I fell in love, with my husband. We just celebrated our 20th anniversary. So when I met him, he was an actor at the time, and I was kind of like, wow, there's this whole other side of life, not corporate America, which is where my whole, that's what I was used to. He was doing what he loved, and quite happy with it. And, you may or may not make money doing that, but eventually that'll come. So anyway, I was living in Colorado at the time when I met James. One of his films was in the Denver Film Festival. Had this crazy romance. He was living in LA. I moved out back to LA to be with him. He was taking care of his uncle, who owned a talent agency for the performing arts, which is a big agency in LA. And you guys probably drive by it. It's actually right where you are. And I moved in with Uncle Roger and James right above West Hollywood in the Hollywood Hills, and was telecommuting for the company I was working for in Colorado. But while I was there, by the nature of Roger's industry, he had to throw parties for his clients. So he was very close to the Clooney family. So one of the first events he threw was for Nina Clooney, George Clooney's mother. It was her birthday party. And I was there at the house, and I was like, Raj, let me help you. So it's a crazy story, but that's really truly how it started. I helped Roger for Nina Clooney's birthday party, and people asked for my business card, and I was like, I'll write my cell phone number on a cocktail napkin. And
no, I just forgot my business card.
I had no clue what I was doing. But Roger, who, has passed away, but such a dear, amazing mentor and a big supporter of mine. He helped me start the company. So I kind of had the peace of mind of his support and backing. He's incredibly successful. And I'm just incredibly driven and such a hard worker. And if I don't know how to do something, I'll do something. And I think part of the success is knowing what my passion is and where my passion lies. So we kind of grew the company to these destination events because that's really where my heart is. And you can tell, I think that's so important, to not do it just for a job, but to do it because you're passionate about it. And like, we know what we need to do to maintain that passion, and you can see that in our events, and our clients can see that, so they know that we truly do love what we do. There's definitely it's not perfect. There's some challenges. Is someone joining in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah. How
Sorry
are you?
Yeah, nice to meet you. And hello.
Oh.
Yes. My name is Roman, and it's a pleasure in this video interview. Yeah.
Very nice to meet you. I'm very flattered and so honored to do this with you guys. So lovely to meet you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So can you
Sorry for interrupting you. Sorry to interrupt you.
No problem. So that was it. It was, I fell in love and started helping Uncle Roger, and it just kind of exploded from there.
So how long have you been doing like the events in general?
So 22, 23 years. Yeah. Yeah.
And can you tell us how you manage to stay inspired all the time? Like, because like this is like such a long time to do the events, and this is such a fun job for sure. But like if you do something like the same thing in a row, it kind of feels maybe
like
not boring,
but all the same. People
all the
come
same.
to you, they're really excited, but you've been a professional saying, oh, okay, guys, I know what you want, I know how to excite you, and you like change your attitude. So
Yeah.
tell us how you feel like inspired.
There's a couple things, and I feel like we've really mastered this, and I'm really happy that we finally have got to this place, because my sisters really helped me with this. For a long time I was kind of like, yes, no problem, yes, I'll do that, yes, I'll do that, yes, I'll do that, and I was working 7 days a week and 18 hours a day and on the road, and so burnt out, and working in places I didn't want to work with, and not really kind of, I tease the clients. I say, listen, I'm interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing me. And that's really critical, because it has to be a really good fit, right? So they need to love me and trust me, and I need to love them and trust them. And it has to be a really beautiful collaboration. So it's, I am very careful. Sometimes I meet with clients and I know it's not a good fit. And my personality is, I don't want to say no to anyone, but I know it's a disservice to them and to myself and to my team when we're trying to fit something that doesn't work. And you really have to really truly have deep conversations with people, because this is going to be a year and it's not easy, or 9 months or 6 months, whatever it is. And we only take on 6 to 8 clients per year. So I need to make sure those 6 to 8 are like a great fit for us. So that's one reason. The second is exactly what you said. I know from my personality, I don't want to work in a hotel in California and just keep going to that hotel and do an event and like, oh, last week we did this event and here's what we're going to do this week. I'm very daring and very adventurous, and as are my clients. So like, I want to work in Cambodia. I want to work in Russia. I am fearless. Outside of the US, I'm actually have less fear than I do in the US. And I love that experience. So for me, we've become a little bit, I don't want to say bossy, but we try and not work in the same location more than once. So yes, Italy, we work in Italy all the time. We try and mix it up between Puglia and Tuscany and Lake Como. And even if we're going back to Puglia, we want to try a new venue. With that said, I don't want to force anything on at the end of the day, it's about what the client wants. So if they want to be at the same villa in Lake Como that we've already worked at 2 times, of course. But it's always going to be a different process for us, because we won't repeat or duplicate or replicate. I really am in tune to our clients and their personalities and what's important to them. So yes, I will tell you what I think is beautiful, but what I really care about is what's beautiful to them. So that's what makes it different. You're not choosing from a catalog of what I think is beautiful. I'm helping them draw out their personalities and say, you love this. You're going to be so happy in this. And it's about the guest experience as well. So infusing the client's personalities, because everybody's different, you're going to have a different event every single time. And I think, when clients come to us, they see that we are tapping into those personalities. And it's a really big compliment at our events when we have people arrive and the guests say, oh my gosh, this is so them, and that means we've done a really good job of tapping into that. So, and setting boundaries as well. Like it's a very emotional time for brides and grooms, and they know, my clients know, and I've always told them this, like, listen, you have full access to me. So if you're stressed about something, I want you to text me, and I don't care if it's about like postage stamps. If you think it's crazy, it's fine, like, let's talk through it. But at the same time, like, I do need to protect myself and protect my team. So there's a way of always being available and answering to the client, but setting those healthy boundaries, which is something in these 22, 23 years, I constantly, still work on. But that's important to have, great balance, great mental health, because if you're not healthy and happy and passionate, you can't be that to your clients, so it kind of starts. Absolutely. It's taken me a long time to understand that. And, I still work on that, but I need to exercise and I need to meditate and I need to, have those boundaries.
To keep your energy, to share it.
Exactly.
And your mental health.
Because because what I'm speaking about, I realize that you're like psychologist. Yeah, for your couples.
You can
100%.
Yeah, and I mean, we know all that also therapists. I mean, it's Russian therapists. Yeah, so like all
Right.
therapists, they have their own therapists because they cannot digest their clients' thoughts. So they need to
Absolutely.
some person who will help them to recover. So it's like
Absolutely.
almost what are you saying now? Because you need to share your energy, but you need somewhere to find it and to
Yeah.
recharge it. Yeah, but
Absolutely.
really cool. And you know, your story is really looks like a destiny. Yeah. And
Yes.
my question is mostly not about today, but if you look back and you mentioned that sometimes you worked in the locations you didn't want, or like with people you didn't want. So if we're speaking about our audience, they're not there yet. Yeah. How can
Yes.
you, like, analyzing your experience, how do you think what helped you to come up to be really like a branded professional? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
So
like, yeah, some
I
habits, some rules which you set up for you, which brought you.
right. Listen, it's taken me, I feel like it's only really happened in the last 2 years. It's taken me a lot of time, and it's a lot of self-awareness, um, and a lot of self-reflection, really, that you have to be very in tune to. But I think it's also important for young professionals to realize you can probably make a heck of a lot more money in a different industry. So if you're doing this solely for the money, yes, we are totally successful and it's amazing, and we've gotten to a point where great, like
Yeah.
it's working for us with the money. That's awesome. It was a very long road to get there. So I tell kind of younger people coming into the industry, you have to, we are starting at the bottom. You don't just get here. It is a very long road, and it's, you have to baby step it and baby step it and baby step it. And you don't just, I mean, it's amazing, some people might be able to start at the top, but I don't think that's really the norm. I started doing, when I first started, I did events for free because I needed a client base, you know. And you have to, I knew actually early in the beginning I wasn't going to be a hotel or resort person. That's really not my passion. I knew, you know, kind of in the beginning, like, I want to be in Mexico. I want outdoor events. I don't want to be in a ballroom. But for some people, their comfort zone may be a ballroom, and they love that, and they might love working at the same hotel 10 weekends in a row, and that's great. But you need to be aware of that, and then kind of, you know, tweak your road that way. And then I think, you know, relationships, like, we would be nowhere without these relationships. So for me, as I was building my business, being a kind, gracious person along the way gets you farther, I think, a lot faster. But I think it's awareness and kind of self-reflection, and it is a lot of hard work. It's a long road, you know. And like I said, you really just have to kind of you really have to baby step it. But I do think people who are starting really should, if they can, shadow someone that has been in the industry for you know, quite a long time. See if they can come work for free, work their events, so that they can learn. Because I think, you know, from the outside perspective, it's incredibly glamorous what we do, especially for like our company, you know, hopping on a plane to Lake Como or to the south of France, and those experiences are amazing. And we're like, I am so, you know, fortunate and grateful. That's amazing. But behind that, I'm hauling furniture, you know, at midnight, and I'm peeling off labels of 200 flip-flops with my team. So like, it's not, you know, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind that, and a lot of challenges. And like you said, you have to be a diplomat, a therapist. It, like, oh my gosh, the amount of therapy and listening. So it's not all perfect. And so I think, like, shadowing event planners also, because then they can see, okay, am I a hotel person? Am I an outdoor person? Do I want to do international? Do I, you know, where's my passion? So I think it's really, really, really important to kind of get that experience, so you can see behind the scenes what actually goes on. Like, we are, you know, it's about smoke and mirrors and making things seem perfect for the clients and the guests. And in theory it is, but there's a lot that, you know, kind of happens that we're not going to show anyone.
Yes.
And you do a lot of like celebrity weddings, and by the way, like I'm a huge fan of what you did for, of course, John Legend and Chris Hagen.
All of us.
All of us. And,
all of us yesterday.
Like 1 year ago, we've been like in the Villa Piazza on the same place, and we created like the photo shoot there with Roman, and I remember they like guided us, like they made a tour for us. Okay, so you can shoot like here, and probably you familiar like with this area of like photo ceremony, of course, like because everybody saw this picture, like after the video, with their ceremony and everything. So I don't know, I'm a huge fan. And can you tell us, is there like a difference between like celebrity events or clients or like usual, I will
normal
say
people.
normal people, like and you told us that you actually started with a celebrity event, right? But still, how did you kept doing this? Like, how did you connect with all this? Like, because like I guess it's kind of like the closed market, and it's like really difficult to get in there. So how did you do that?
So I have to credit Regina and Zaheen, who are one of my, just a lovely couple. They got married in Zacatecas, Mexico. They are friends with John and Chrissy, and it kind of, that's that baby stepping thing, right? So we kind of built our market. You started with domestic, it ultimately got to international, did a wedding in Mexico for Regina and Zaheen, and they referred John and Chrissy to us. And I think we were very, like, incredibly fortunate in that, because John and Chrissy have the personalities. They're phenomenal people, and I can't say how much I adore them, and so kind and so loyal. I think with a lot of celebrities, the comfort zone is to work with an event planner that's already done this giant portfolio of celebrity events, which is amazing because that's where we are now. But John and Chrissy were unique in that they connected with me and they trusted Regina and Zaheen, and we got a very big break by getting their event. So I don't really have a good answer for that, because we were very lucky, and it has to do with John and Chrissy's personality. And then the amazing thing is we built such an amazing relationship with them, and now I do so much for them, and they trust me, and they call me, and whatever, and they have referred other people, and other people see that, and then it does kind of snowball from there, which is amazing. But celebrity events, John and Chrissy were so unique on so many levels, but celebrity events in general, they're very difficult because you have such an added layer of security issues, and you kind of have to operate in this stealth mode, and you have to be very selective and protective, and for me, it's so much pressure to do a celebrity event because you're protecting this secret, and you want to protect them as people. It's a really private thing that unfortunately everyone wants to see and know about, and the celebrities understand that they're in the public eye, but we want to give them that privacy and give them that moment. So it's a lot to take on, and it's very difficult, and the liability involved in that is a lot. So it's my preference, truthfully, is to work with normal people, because you don't have that. It's a whole. We already have enough stress and challenges as there are, and to add a whole nother layer, it makes it difficult. But with that said, absolutely, does it do wonders for the business? 100%. So we evaluate it, and we decide, do we want to take on that risk or not. And even with our non-celebrity clients, like, it's so important, and this is a thing too, and actually this is a really important point as well. we're very protective of our clients, celebrity or not. So I think, you know, that's one of the things that clients know about us is our discretion. And that's when I know we have some social media questions. It's a really big balance for us because yes, we want to maintain that presence, but we also want to maintain the privacy of our clients. And that we've actually built such a strong business that way. And people trust us because of that, because it's not just about like, I'm going to plaster your event and your names and the location on social media. So it's a balance, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, speaking about personal brand, so you're actually like the personal brand yourself. You have the huge team, I imagine, who works on all of these projects and everything. But everyone knows your name. Everybody, I would.
It's driven by you.
Yeah, I would assume like
image.
Every client wants to see you or meet you and expect you, I think, to show up in like on their wedding. And
like you are the guarantee of the quality.
Yeah.
For the client. Exactly. This is a personal brand.
Yeah. So what do you think, if we're speaking about like wedding agencies, like in general, is it like essential for a wedding agency or professional to have like the personal brand? Because I can, for sure, I can imagine like for a photographer is essential. It is essential, for example, or videographer. But for like the bigger company, for like for a brand, is it essential to build also your personal
brand, or you can develop just the image of the company? How do you feel? Because there are two ways, but it's interesting your opinion on that.
So I think it's both, but for me and for weddings, I think for weddings in particular, brides and brides, grooms and grooms, they want to connect with a person, not the wedding company. So I think first and foremost, you have to have that really strong personal face of the company. So for our company, yes, I'm the face, and yes, I am, you know, I have so much interaction with the clients, and I do want my clients to know when they're hiring Lisa Vorse, they do get Lisa Vorse. And that's again why we're so particular about our schedule and the amount of clients we take on, because I can only be in so many places and be on a plane so many times. So personal brand, I think, definitely is foremost, because you, again, with weddings, with the emotion, they want a person, they want to connect to that. And it's also personality, right? So like, I have a very soft personality. I have a very caring and very loving personality. And I think that's very comforting when it comes to a wedding. They know I'm going to take care of them. They know I'm going to take care of their guests. With that said, Lisa Vorse is nothing without Lisa Vorse Co. and our team. And my clients know very early on, yes, you're going to get me and you're going to have all the interaction. I'm going to oversee it and I'm going to design it and I'm going to be there, the first one there, the last one to leave. I'm always there. However, Gina and Nicole and Taylor and our team play just as strong of a role. So like they know they're getting the whole company. And again, I can be a fabulous face person, but if I don't have the company to back it, who cares? You know, like you're not going to be successful. So it's a team, 100% it's a team. But I do think like in terms of building the brand, yeah, there's a personality involved. And there's some, you know, some of my colleagues, it's interesting, we're all so close. It's such a small industry, but there are different personalities of the face people of the company. And, you know, we have built our niche and we have built, people know what I personally am passionate about, and they know the company philosophy. So they're coming to us for that reason. Whereas some of my colleagues, for equal the reasons, but different reasons, they'll go to that company because of that. So, you know, there's so much talent, West Coast, East Coast, globally. You have to really build your own style, so that you have, like, I think the clients that we connect to and the clients that connect to us are a very perfect fit for my personality and kind of what we built for that. But absolutely, like, truly, the brand, the company behind the brand is equally important to the brand.
But
if that makes sense.
somewhere you're drawing the line, right? Because like I noticed like that you don't have like or you do have your personal Instagram for example, but you never actually like show it. Like, so if you want to just if you want to like because first of all we didn't know how do you look like, so we wanted just to get like
Research.
familiar
We
with
did
your face.
research. Yeah.
We did the research, and yeah, I've noticed like you don't have your or yeah, like I said, yeah, you don't tell about this. Maybe you have like your personal account just for your friends. So it's more about, so you are very protective, I would say, about your private life. So you have like your face for interviews or maybe some profile pictures. So you don't think is it essential to actually show people like your life? It's more about just
Being professional.
Right, that's something I struggle with, but there's a couple things. One thing that's important to me is to be authentic in my personal life and my professional life. So yes, I might be a little bit more buttoned up when I'm in a professional setting versus my personal one, but for the most part, my personal and professional self is the same person. I don't want to have to put on an act when I'm being professional. But I think what you're seeing, it's interesting that you say that, and something I struggle with because I don't have a personal account. My Lisa Vorse account is personal and professional, and you're right, you see very little personal stuff on there. And I maybe I am very private. I think I'm just really controlling in terms of what's actually put out there. But I do think people want to see the person behind the professional. They want to see the personal side of me. So we are working on that. We did last year, Taylor and Gina really have been pushing on this social media thing, but it's, you know, it's a full-time job and we have to work on it. But Taylor came up with the idea of 12 Days of Christmas, which is one of our Instagram stories. And that I got so, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, your house, your Christmas tree, like your nephew, they loved it. So I think we'll do that again this year, but I do think, but you know, it's not my personality to be like, this is what I'm eating for breakfast, everybody. So that's where I get a little controlling, like, and I want it to be very authentic. I don't want to post something just to post something. So, and I get protective of the look and feel of it. So it might be my kind of type A controlling perfectionist side where I don't want to post something unless it's perfect. So I do need to work on that because there is a very personal side. Like, you know, my husband, who I can hear in the kitchen, like, you know, we just celebrated our 20th anniversary. Like, you know, I think people would love to see that and, you know, hear the story or whatever. So yeah, I do. It's not, I don't mean that to be a very conscious decision. But I do need to work on that. I can tell you we'll do 12 Days of Christmas again this year, and there'll be insight into my home and my family.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to it. Yeah, and can you tell us, like you mentioned before that the wedding industry is like very small industry. I guess like it's the same here and it's the same in Russia. Can you tell us how important is actually like networking? Did you try to attend like maybe some events for professionals? Do you keep in touch with your colleagues or maybe even competitors? Do you how important do you think it is?
Oh, it's critical, like absolutely critical. So there's there's relationships and there's networking. So for me, I'm not a networker. I don't actively go out. It's just not my personality because again, I have such like a hang up on being 100% authentic all the time. So not that that's not an authentic thing, but it's not my personality to be like, what do you do for a living? And, oh, great, let me take down your number. I just don't do that. Although I'll have a very genuine conversation with someone. But for me, our kind of networking or relationship building has been a very organic process, which again, like that is just my personality. It has to happen naturally. It has to be very organic. And so for us in these, 22, 23 years of working throughout the world, we have created and built this incredible network of colleagues throughout the world and in the US and abroad. So it's because, from working at the, at Villa Pizzo and meeting people in Lake Como and the suppliers and the vendors throughout the world, those have been our kind of long-standing relationships, and it's really incredible. I mean, a good example is, you know, during this pandemic, one of our, like, we have, I work with event planners. By the way, I don't, like, this is something that I feel very strongly about. When I'm in these different countries, I always subcontract, not always, as much as we can, where we can, we do subcontract local wedding planners, because they are on the ground, they get it, they speak the language, although if we bring Gina, she speaks all the languages anyway, but they're so important, you know, and so critical to us. So, you know, we've got an amazing event planner in St. Bart's that we work with. And in Italy, the example I was going to say, Cindy Salgado, who's the event planner in Tuscany, who I think might be one of our long lost sisters. We connect so well, but we established a relationship with her. I don't even remember what event it was, one of the events we did in Italy, you know, 5 or 6 years ago. And she's worked with us on multiple events, but during this pandemic, when I can't travel, Cindy has been so helpful in getting some of the groundwork done for us in Lake Como, because she can, you know, and I think that's really important to recognize that I can't do it all, and my company can't do it all. And I love partnering with these people and building the relationships that way. So I think kind of the networking and relationships kind of go hand in hand for me. But I do really love when I have the time to go to Engage or Destination Wedding Planners Congress. I'm not sure if you're familiar with those. I really love being there and having these conversations and meeting new people, and that's great. I just unfortunately spend so much time on a plane and traveling. When I have the opportunity not to travel, I really prefer just being home. I'm so happy being home. So I don't get it. Like, if you ask anyone in the industry, they know that I'm like the most kind of introverted extrovert at the same time, because I am so friendly and love people, but I actually I'm so happy being home. But networking's so important, but for me, it's an organic version of networking. But it's a wonderful way to build the connections and build the business, especially for someone just starting out.
But you know, I have a question, because we have interviewed with photographers, floral design companies, catering, and they all always want to be like to have a partnership with a wedding planner to be chosen. Yeah. So I'm just curious, and it will be extremely valuable information for the audience, how you choose these partners in the country, or like photographers, whatever. Yeah, what they shall do to be noticed, and to become your partner. Because, like, of course you have a bunch of your trusted people, but still sometimes you're searching for the fresh blood. Like, there are new the photography, and you respect, with all respect to the previous generations, you are, as a wedding planner, yes, you need to update your resources. So how do you do it, and what's essential for you?
That's a really good question. I get asked that all the time. You're totally right. So part of it is, you know, we have the comfort zone with these people and the history of all these people that we've worked with for, you know, 10, 11, 15 years. So, you know exactly what to expect. You've got it down, like they know you exactly. So there's something there. And you know what the product is going to be, most importantly. With that said, exactly what you said, the fresh blood, that is so important to keep your portfolio fresh. And for me, like, working with new people, collaborating with new people, I always learn something. I mean, I learned something from people that we've worked with for years as well, but I think it is really important to kind of keep that fresh. And that also goes back to maintaining the passion. I love new relationships and new collaborations, and it's such a good learning experience and creates diversity in your portfolio, because it definitely can get very homogenized when you have the same exact team over and over. With me, it's nice because it's kind of forced the way we've chosen to operate, because we work in so many new locations. And because I have such a thing about being authentic in whatever location and country we're in, I don't want to bring an entire team from the US. One, it's not cost efficient at all. Two, why get married in the US then? Like, that's part of the beauty of being in these different countries. is to work with the different artisans and kind of understand. And for me, like, you know, I think even with the lighting designers, it's much easier for me to bring our lighting designer, because I can just say, I want this look, and they'll know, and they know I don't want to see a ton of instruments and, you know, that whole thing. So it's definitely harder and you know, much greater challenge to work with these new vendors. But I actually love it. I think I might, for some of my colleagues, I think they feel stronger about kind of keeping that core team and always traveling with them. So I think I'm a little bit different. I may not be, I don't know. But I do, you know, in these various countries, I really want to experience it. With that said, it's a lot. And my clients know that it's a lot of research and a lot of vetting behind the scenes. And for me, when I'm looking at portfolio, that's the easiest thing to, you know, obviously look at. Do I love it? Can I see the caliber of the events? I'm looking, you know, lighting is a good example, and sound, like, how are they hiding their instrumentation? Because my clients are not going to want to see anything, nor do I. It's difficult to light an event without having instrumentation. So portfolio is number one, and doing quite a bit of research, looking at their Instagram feed, that whole thing. But then having really deep conversation, not deep, but, you know, lengthy conversations with them as well, because I can tell a lot from the vocabulary throughout the conversation. And that's just, you know, it can be a very surface level conversation, but I have to really kind of listen and see, you know, the questions they're asking me and how are they handling my questions. So it's a bit of an interview as well, but it's a big leap of faith on our end. And our clients are very good about knowing that I'm not going to sacrifice the integrity of the event or the looks of the event just because I want to try someone new. So to answer the real question, which is, how do you get in, you know, as a vendor, how do you get in? I think it's hard, particularly with photography too, because you have so many photographers. Photography is a really tough one for me, because until I see how you actually shoot one of my events, that's really the big thing for me. And same with hair and makeup. Like, I always have them do the trial on me, because I want to, you know, and then I'm like, okay, cool. And then, you know, they can do it on, then I'm like, to my client, you'll love it. So for me, it has to be a really personal, like, I got to experience it myself. So with photography, that makes it very difficult, because if we're only doing 6 or 8 events a year, how do you give me that experience without me taking a risk and, you know, experimenting? You know, my clients are not going to be happy with that. So photography, the biggest way we've been exposed to new photographers is them bringing us a client, which also is a difficult thing, but we have built new relationships with photographers based on that. That's the easiest way. And then, you know, I think, like, there's photographers in the US that I really do appreciate when people spend the time to understand us, like me, my company, our company, the philosophy behind us, and make sure they're in alignment that way. And there's this photography studio in the US, and they, you know, kind of tapped into my love of animals, and they had reached out to me and said, hey, like, can we come shoot you at one of the, you know, you volunteering at one of the animal agencies, are you doing something with the animals? And I really appreciated that, because it wasn't just like, here's our portfolio. Give us a chance.
Enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
go ahead.
But later. Yeah.
And again, I've said this too many times in this conversation, but that's very authentic to me. And I think it is so flattering. And I won't lie when I say, like, I love when people say they want to work with us, and that always makes me feel good. But there is a version of that is very authentic, and one that is just kind of very salesy, like, you know, and we can tell the difference. So it's not a great answer, because it's not there. I don't think there's like a perfect way to do it, but I think, you know, like I said, I really do appreciate when people have read about the company and they, you know, it's not just like, you do great events, I want to work with you. It's like, I really love your philosophy and I love to travel as well. And, you know, that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit, again, it's a little bit more of a personal connection.
Yeah. And
can I ask a question?
sure.
You talked about you talked about the good products in the beginning of the answer for that question. What is a good product for you, from, for example, from photographer? But actually, it's the experience of the couple, your experience, the quality of all shooting, emotion, so everything. Yeah, what is a good product by photographer for you? What do you mean?
That's a good question, and it's something I speak with my clients quite a bit about, because again, first step is they need to connect to the images, right? So it's not what I find it, photography is so subjective, right? So like someone who likes really intense saturation may not, that might be what they love. Is it what I love? Maybe, maybe not. But you know, like, so I want to tap into what they find to be beautiful. I want them to, I also kind of educate them and say, look, like, you need to see a whole wedding from start to finish, multiple weddings from start to finish, so you can see the story. Can the photographers tell the whole story? Can, like you said, can they tap into the emotion of what's happening as well, in addition to the details and some of the stuff we care about behind the scenes? So not just the highlights. So I kind of go through an education of like, here's what I want you to look at when you're looking at these images. Because with clients, I see them connect quite a bit to, if they see a beautiful event in Puglia with this stunning bride, they connect to that. And I'm like, okay, but let's look at the, you know, the photography. Let's look at the photography. Like, I get, like, that's where you want to be, and that's what you want your event to look like. But so I think a lot of times they get kind of caught up in, like, they want to feel the feeling that's happening in these scenarios, right? So we work with them to really look at the photography. Are they telling a full story? And then also having the conversation of what they care about, because some of my clients don't want any details. They don't care. They don't want to see the dress hung or whatever. They just want the people, and they want to capture that. So that's important too, in terms of matching them with the photographer as well, because there's no one size fits all that way. And for us, we want the photographer to also be in tune to that, because you have to adapt to what the client expectations are. But I mean, it has to be a natural fit. But we want, if they don't want a ton of details, okay, so we lower the percentage on the details. So connecting to the imagery is number one. Then beyond that, what we care about behind the scenes, and my clients know how strongly I feel about that, is personality. Because you can have someone that is so insanely talented, but they are a terror behind the scenes. And I mean, truly, you've got some insanely talented people out in the universe that we have chosen not to partner with, because I tell my clients, like, look, I want to know if something is on fire behind you. That photographer is going to tell you you're beautiful, is still going to get the images. I will deal with the fire behind the scenes. It's not about the photographer or about me. It's about you. Keep it going, you know. And like, I need to know that. I always say, like, you know, we're kind of in the trenches with the photography. It may be insanely hot. It may be raining. It may be like we're off schedule or whatever that is. I need to know, for me, that the photographer is going to adapt and deal with it, and not have to have me. We give our vendors a lot of freedom, because we know that they're so skilled at what they do. So once I know that, I don't have to I mean, I'm always monitoring and, you know, whatever, but I don't want to babysit. I don't have time to babysit, and I don't want to. This isn't about, like I said, it's not about the photographer. It's not about me. It's about the clients, and it's about the guests. So we are there to make everything perfect. And I need to know that the people that we work with are going to be on the same page with that. And if, you know, we're working till 2 a.m, we are going to keep that, you know, 5 a.m, whatever, smile on our face, and make sure they know, like, hey, we're so happy to be here. So that, for us, is the other half of the equation, which the clients, you know, I don't think they're, because they don't have the history and experience. That's where the history and experience, it comes in, because I know I've seen someone in action, and that's so important for me to see how they kind of react to things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of things to think about.
That's
Right.
very cool.
And
Yeah,
keep it in
Romo,
yeah.
go on.
yeah,
I have
No.
one more question.
I mean,
Yeah,
may I
yeah,
summarize
yeah.
just? At the end of the day, it's human beings, yeah, and this is,
Yeah.
I mean, you could be really professional, but still the maturity and how you can deal with the situation, how you can react, and how you can be that
but
energetic and like give energy
personality.
to the team
Yeah.
and to the everyone who is there this day sometimes really makes the most important like contribution to the whole day. Yeah, this is really great insight for me. And
Number one, you nailed it.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've been in the industry like for such a long time, and I'm sure you tried all the kind of promotion, and these days a lot of people believe in social media. So I don't know, I cannot speak like for US, but in Russia a lot of professionals believe for in Instagram, for example, you need to have a lot of followers on Instagram page, and maybe you will not so like care about your website or about I don't know, your profile in Style Me Pretty, for example. What do you think, like how actually like your clients find you? Do you have some clients for social media, for Instagram, or it's more about like you build your image in there, but your clients still will, I don't know, will come to you through referrals or like for organic search? What do you think about the importance of social media these days?
I think it's incredibly important, and truthfully, it's something we are not good at because we
No,
don't have that balance. We need to work on that. But for me, you know, again, this is kind of maturity, kind of growing up in the industry. It's not about the number of followers. I just want those followers to be the right followers for us and authentic followers for us, because that's, you know, again, where we've built that niche that way. Our business is 100% referral. So clients come to us not because they saw my Instagram account or have gone to our website and found us, you know, randomly. It's either they've been to one of our events or they've had someone they know been to, you know, have gone to one of our events and they referred us. And again, that's how we've kept such a strong kind of hold on our niche, is there, it's the right client coming to us. With that said, you know, when clients are evaluating us and looking at us, yes, they're going to the website, and yes, I think, you know, Instagram is probably a heck of a lot stronger than websites are anymore. Although I do think it's important to have a very clean image between all the social media platforms, and an updated, you know, image, which again, we still struggle with that. I you know, for me at an event, I would love to story and I would love to kind of post something in the moment. But again, I have to find the balance of maintaining the privacy of the client. But also when we are at an event, I am so focused on what I'm doing and my team is so focused on what they're doing. We frankly don't have the time to take a step back and like story something, which the answer I think is we just need to hire someone to do that so we can focus on what we're doing, because I do think it is very interesting for people. And I think even in the stories, you know, good example for us is like we just built the most amazing greenhouse for one of our clients. And when you look at it, and I know people have told me, they're like, oh, I thought that was an existing structure. And I'm like, no, that was an open field. That took us 10 days to construct like a tent, and it's a facade on the tent with incredible lighting. So to see that backstory, I think would be so fun for people. And it gives you much more appreciation when you look at the photo of the greenhouse. You're like, wow, you know, all that went into it. So I think that would be so fun. And I know people would love to see kind of behind the scenes, because it is really, really interesting to see that. So I mean, for us, I think we do have to work on hiring someone that can dedicate that time at the events, because I'm like in it and I don't want to, you know, stop and do my social media. But I do think it's really, you know, I think it's incredibly important. And, you know, it helps you build your brand, and it helps, you know, those curated images. And I think that's why you probably don't see as much as my personal life on there, because it is very curated, you know. So there's kind of a look and feel to our Instagram posts. But yeah, it's truly poor Taylor on our team has really been trying to kind of push me on these posts, and she's trying, and Gina is too, but I will cooperate at some point, because I think it's very important.
Yeah, I would add, like, we would love to see more of your personal life. Like, you told us about your husband, like you were just celebrated like the 20th anniversary. We would love to see and meeting you here, like yes, in virtual life, but still, like, we can see you, we can still your adorable smile, your energy, and everything. I mean, like, people for sure would love it. So we will support Taylor and Gina. We want to see more.
Fair enough. For you, I will do something.
Okay, keep in mind that you're doing it for us. Yeah,
that's right.
That's so important. Who is behind all these projects? It is you.
Yes.
Yeah, smiling face. Yeah.
Yeah, I know people, like you said, it's human. At the end of the day, it's human beings. So I think people do want to see that there's a human being behind this, and I think, I need to be okay with not being perfect all the time. So I think that's what I need to like let go of, and show a little bit more of me. I will try and do that.
Yep. Thank you.
We will like and comment. We will do whatever you need to have your account.
Yeah, we will support you.
Yeah. We will increase the engagement rate.
Yeah. So
we will watch it for you one and come back and watch it again and watch it again. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we have just two last questions. First of them, do you have because like the world like actually kind of shifted with all of this like pandemic situation and everything? How do you have your own version of what would happen? Like, will it all just come back like nothing happened in the next season, like 2021, or you think something would change?
Yeah, I mean, goodness, that's the $1 million question. I'd love to know the answer to that. I think I would be remiss if I pretended that I, could predict the future. I mean, who could have ever thought this would have happened? I mean, it's insane, and everything that all the other things that have happened as well. So, I think really what we have focused on in our studio is trying to stay positive, trying to be a really good support system for our clients, because it's really devastating, for brides to, put all this effort, and not to mention the financial side of it, into their beautiful experience in Mallorca, and we just kind of like, sorry, we're ripping that away from you. So again, going back to part therapist and that whole thing, we want to listen, and we want to adapt, and we want to protect our clients. So, I don't know, like I with things opening now, like that's very exciting, but like we're still treading very cautiously, incredibly cautiously, with, we moved everything from 2020 to 2021. And it's funny because we had like early 2021, and now we're moving to late 2021. And I mean, that's so much work, for my team. But of course we're going to do it. And of course we want to put our clients in the best possible position, one, that they're comfortable with, and two, we feel comfortable with knowing, okay, we're going to have 200 people in St. Bart's or wherever we're going to be. Is that going to be okay? And we've been trying to, work with our clients, like, let's bring your numbers down, like maybe let's go domestic, and, kind of lessen the risk factors. But, our clients are like, no, they love their destination international events, and they want to keep doing that. It's really where their heart is. So all I can say, I mean, the good news at the end of the day for the industry is love is enduring, right? And we know that we're always going to celebrate love. That's not going to go away. It's going to happen in some way, shape, or form somehow. So like, we just, as the professionals behind the scenes, we need to do our best to, again, stay positive and adapt, and just kind of roll with the punches. So I think it may be frustrating in the industry for people because you think like, okay, great, we locked in this date, we're all set. Here's the new date, we moved everything. Well, we may have to move that date again. So we just need to be okay with that. That's really what's happening right now. And you know, my clients have always loved outdoor events anyway, so that's kind of naturally what we do. They prefer to be outdoors, so that's what we're doing. But I mean, we have to be very cautious about. And you know, I want to stay positive, but I have to be realistic with the clients as well. I'm not going to tell them, "Yep, it's fine, everything's going to be okay." It's not. We don't know that. I mean, it might be, but we don't know that. So like, we need to have, you know, before we always had plan B, now we have like plan B, C, D, and E, you know, so it might be like international, but then we have like the backup plan for like the core, you know, under 50 people in the US if we need it. So like, it's definitely more work on our end because we're juggling so many things and our calendar is crazy because we're like, can we do a site visit? Can we not? Is this event going to happen? We don't know. So at 2021 is going to be very interesting because like like I'm getting on a plane tomorrow.
Whoa.
For something, you know, in Northern California, but this is the first, you know, kind of plane. So we're starting, but like for me, once the international waters open up, I'm just going to be really going to be on a plane, you know, 24/7. So the next few months in the fall will be very interesting to see, but I think we protect as much as we can and adapt. We just have to adapt, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Like, you know, a lot of photographers actually offer right now like digital photo shoots like via Zoom
and FaceTime.
Yeah. And some of them actually pretty great. I mean, like who would know that actually you can like create the whole photo shoot like in a distance.
Yeah. Some our do the same in online events. Yeah, I saw some online events from our planners, from Moscow. Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, it's real. Yeah.
I mean, that's the cool thing with the industry too, is like you're surrounded by all these creative people. So like the things that are starting to come out, just because people are being forced to like, okay, well now how do we handle this? It's really cool to watch. And I'm always so impressed with, you know, the kind of creative take people have on things. So it's neat to watch. But you know, some days are hard. Some days I'm like, oh no, what, you know, I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. But like, it's really important to stay strong and stay positive, and we will get through it.
Yeah, that's true. Let's hope for it.
Go for it. I have, like, from my side, I have only one last question.
Sure.
You're really experienced. You did a great, amazing events, and that's why I have a question. Do you have like your dream event, or like what are you dreaming about?
That's so cool.
Any destination, or a couple, or whatever, or like a wedding for two, wedding for 2000. Like, what are you dreaming about?
I love weddings for two. That's like one of my favorite things. So, you know, when we do the weddings for two, like it's pretty fun because it's such a challenge for me behind the scenes, because we kind of just land wherever we are, and it's kind of like we call it like a quick fire challenge, the way chefs have to like make something really quickly. That's kind of what we do. So I love doing that because it's such a creative challenge. But gosh, I've been so spoiled and so fortunate to, you know, get to work in all these locations. There's a lot of locations on my list, like Patagonia, Iceland. Like I'd like to do some pretty well, they're not crazy, but like off the beaten path locations. But you know, at the same time, I'm not going to complain if I'm going back to Italy or the south of France. Like I will always love that. But you know, the wonderful thing about our client base is they are incredibly trusting, and they are incredibly adventurous. So I kind of get to do like, I don't feel like we're missing out or lacking anything, or gosh, I wish we can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Because we, again, knock on wood, our clients kind of, gosh, do you hear my birds outside? Our clients let us do that. So they let us be creative, and the sky's the limit. And that's kind of, you know, an important thing too when I'm interviewing the clients is I do need to know that they are going to trust us. And I get that that's very difficult because, you know, they may not have a history with us, but when you get to that level where the clients do trust you, then you can be an artist, you can be creative, and you can, and knowing, they know that I'm always going to have their best interest at heart, and they know I'm always going to be in tune to what they want and what they find to be beautiful. Not, it's not, again, it's not about me or my company, but that's great. So like, I really don't feel like, oh man, I wish I could do this, because I truly get to do it already,
Yeah.
which is really incredible. You know, it's really, really incredible.
It's incredible, really. Yeah, that sounds cool. Like, yeah.
So we have one last questions from
Right.
From
Yeah. Could you tell me when you talked about wedding location, for example, south of France or Como, how do you usually, I try to understand the process for choosing location. For example, Villa Pizza, it's a very nice place. And how did you find it? The most important, maybe the first, how to say it, how the process of location searching for the agency, how it goes usually?
That's a really good question. It's very difficult. It's like finding a needle in a haystack. Because, you know, our clients, when we started working with Villa Pizza, it wasn't as popular. It was popular, but not as popular as it is now. So like now, if my clients were in Lake Tahoe, they wouldn't want Villa Pizza because everybody knows about it. So they want us to find these kind of unique locations that are a little bit untapped, that their guests haven't seen and they haven't been to. So it makes it even harder. But it's a really long process and a very difficult process for us, because when we're trying to find a location for our client base, it's not just, okay, this is where the wedding's going to be and this is pretty. I need to know, how far is it from the airport? Where are the guests going to stay? Can I get all the guests in one location? Or do we have multiple price points for the hotels? You know, at the high end, the middle, low end, how many planes does it take to get there? And then where's the Thursday night event? Where's the Friday night event? Where's the Saturday event? Where's the Sunday event? Where's our daytime excursions? So for us, I always tell the clients, like, I need to get all the stars to align in one spot. So it's not just finding the wedding location. You know, again, with Instagram and you know, a lot of the social media outlets, that has helped tremendously. Back in the day when I first started, we didn't have that, so it was much harder. Now it's a bit easier because you can really, you know, put in hashtags and search that. But for me, you know, we tell our clients, like, look, we're gonna take everything we know is important to you and all the priorities and what we know you find to be beautiful. We're gonna kind of put that into a pot, and then, you know, find these locations and qualify them. So I would never just send my clients like, check out this website and let me know what you think. For me, I'm like, okay, this A, it's available. B, we know we can do it for the budget, which is hugely important.
Mm-hmm.
The budget, I just see line items when I'm looking at a location. I'm like, okay, I need 2 generators. We don't have restrooms. There's no shade. There's no protection from the wind or the rain or whatever. So I'm factoring that in. So I'm kind of like building the event at a very high level when we're looking at a location. Because I need to know, one, we need to have enough real estate. I need to tell my clients, like, okay, this will work for you. And yes, I can do it for the budget. So all of that gets factored in, which is so much research and work. Once we have that, then we kind of narrow it down to the, like, you know, top 1, 2, or 3. Then I'll present that to the client. But so it's kind of like a full story that you present to the client. But so I think social media is really important. And my husband's here trying to say goodbye to me. Yeah, go ahead. He's gonna grind coffee, so it's gonna be a little bit loud. Here he comes.
Oh, hi.
So
sweet.
But you know, it's hard because if I haven't been there and I can't just hop on a plane and go to, you know, Jamaica and check out that venue and be like, no, that didn't work, you know. So we have to really qualify it. And I prefer to see it in person before I really sell it to my clients, but that's not totally possible sometimes. So again, it's just a ton of research. But again, like we're in a position which is also like so amazing, where I do have a lot of the venues or private villas reach out to us. And so, and again, that goes back to the network and the reputation and all that stuff. We have an incredible reputation globally because we care so much, obviously, about the clients and the guests, but we care so much about the people we're working with and the venues. We're very, very fortunate to work at some incredible villas and castles and, you know, private estates throughout the world. And we are allowed access to a lot of locations that other people don't have access to because we will take care of them. And people know that. And that's really, really, really important. What we do, if you're bringing 200 people in and building a greenhouse, that's a lot of wear and tear on a, you know, 200-year-old villa. So
Yeah.
we should be very careful about things like that. So that's part of it. But sorry, that wasn't really answering your question. It's a lot of research. We spend a lot of time searching and looking, and you kind of go down this rabbit hole and it leads you to something else. But it's not a easy just what are beautiful venues in Italy. Like it's much deeper than that, but a lot goes into it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh.
Thank you very thank you for that. Now I can show this interview to my friends who have villas, and they will
Tell them.
what
Tell them.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh, Ariel, thank you
Thank
so
you so much. I think that
Thank you very much.
that's it. Yeah.
Thank you guys. It was so fun chatting with you, and I will do some personal posts for you. And yes, you won with Villa.
Yes.
You have them. Send them our way.
Yeah, definitely. We'll give them like your email address so they can I don't know, just reach out to you and maybe show them like,
Yeah.
you and everything.
Thank you so much for your honesty, for the insights, and yeah, at the end of the day, you're a human being.
Yeah, for your personal
of today's morning.
Yeah, it's like yeah, and we're like I could say for all of us, it's been an honor, yeah, to meet you, like even virtually and everything. And thank you, like we're huge fans of your work.
Oh, thank you very, very much. I'm flattered, and my pleasure, my honor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So yeah, we
have
wish
a nice
you
day.
a nice day. Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, you guys stay safe there in your chaos.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.